This is Michael Spedden, and welcome to Fowl Players Radio, your one-stop shop for all of your pop culture needs. We feature interviews from musicians, actors, comics, dancers, authors, and much, much more, up-and-coming artists and beloved favorites. We've got it all, people on stage, backstage, out front, and behind the scenes. Sit back and relax. Let's have some fun.
Hi, this is Gina Alicia from Nightwind. You are listening to Fowl Players Radio with Michael Spedden.
Hi, this is John from A Day in Pompeii, and you are listening to Fowl Players Radio.
And welcome back to another episode of Fowl Players Radio, Season 12. It's 12 seasons already. How can that be? But, hey, you know what? We're here. Let's enjoy it. We're getting old, you know. What can I say? Hey, tonight's guest is Livengood Project. I had a great time talking to these fellas. We had Richard Livengood, we had Sam Skinner, and we had Louis Frisino on the show. They were talking about their upcoming shows that they have coming up on March 29th at the Poplar Inn, 7700 Wise Avenue in Dundalk. Also, Ram's Head Shore House on Saturday, May 24th, down in Stevensville, Maryland. That's going to be a great show as well. So make sure you get out and check them out there. Their website is livengoodproject.com. And when you go to Livengood Project, not only can you see their calendar, videos from past shows, photographs, pictures, you get their booking and contact information, but more importantly, you have links to all their socials that are there as well. To their YouTube, to their where you can buy their music on Apple. You can also have their Facebook and their Instagram links are there as well. So make sure you check them out and enjoy the episode. They were great guys to talk to. We had a nice talk about what's going on now. And, Richard talked a good bit about his time in Los Angeles. Sam and Louis were talking about a lot of the old clubs that they played in the on the East Coast in the Baltimore area. And we really had a great time, and we think you'll enjoy this episode too. So stick around, folks. We'll be right back with Livengood after these words.
Hi, folks. This is Jay David, and you're listening to Fowl Players Radio.
This is Eric Surratt from Baumenkinder, and you're listening to Michael Spedden on Fowl Players Radio.
And welcome back to another episode of Fowl Players Radio. My name is Michael Spedden. We are in season 12. And tonight we've got the Livengood Project with us. We've got Richard, Sam, and Louis joining us tonight. They've got lots of great things to tell us tonight, about the past and the future. And so welcome, fellas. Good to see you all.
Great to be here. Great to be here, Mike. Yeah. Thank you. Nice to see you.
Same here.
I just had you on the 97 Underground show, and we played some of your material, and I love the material. You've got just a great mix of lots of different influences, and in talking to you, the three of you are probably are very eclectic. All the things that you like and bring to the table, and I'm sure it does show in your style and everything. So, tell us a little bit about that.
Well, we do, as I think we said earlier, we do like a groove set and a rock set.
Yeah.
And it's more, I'm like playing piano, and I'm not like doing it. I actually do it.
Yeah, it's like he's playing the piano, but he's really not.
Yeah. It's a magic trick. You didn't tell him that, Rich. AI. Come on, man.
Yeah. Honey, look, he's playing the piano. No, he's not.
Rich is in the bathroom, so we got the robot. He'll be right out. Promise.
So, I'm sorry, you caught me a little off guard there. It's a really groovy set when we do that. And what was the question? I'm kind of
talking about your influences and the music that you're making now. And
my influences are from like Steely Dan and old Aerosmith.
Mm-hmm.
Those are and maybe some AC/DC-ish kind of stuff in there.
Yeah.
That's I think that if you could picture that, maybe some Stones or old Stones-ish kind of stuff. But
sure.
But it changes over the years too. I guess Van Halen. I graduated in 1983, so you can't really escape that influence in those days. But
sure.
Well, who doesn't love the Stones and the Beatles? You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Yeah,
Who doesn't
yeah.
love that?
That's what
Right.
started me right away, from that to Sabbath. And then, like I was telling you earlier, the whole punk generation influence and new wave, electronica. Then friends turned me on to like progressive rock, Brand X, bands like PFM and just all sorts of stuff that open your head up. Gino Ponte to, oh my God, it goes on and on. And I started listening to old jazz and understanding it and rock and back around to Latin music, and it just opened my head up. The whole Latin thing is a whole other world altogether. So, and then rhythm and blues, of course.
And I'm trying to incorporate like a lot of the drum styles and these different genres he's talking about into what I'm doing. And it's real. It's authentic rock. It's authentic rock with groove based, but it's still rock.
With some flavors and spices.
Mm-hmm.
Right, Sam?
Yeah, it's
Sam, take it away, Sam. What's your opinion?
Take it away.
I think it's great. I mean, the cool thing about this music, Michael, is that Richard wrote these songs, but he still allows us to put our little thumbprint on it. So the songs are a bit different than the way they were recorded because of different people involved now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let me say that it's like I've never, and even though my name is my last name is in the name of the band, it's like I've never had the heart to be a solo artist.
Sure, sure.
Just not. I'm always a band guy, but I'm the writer and the singer and a lot of times too. So it's a democracy, but I'm a little heavy-handed though.
Sure.
Well, his name's
I'm a heavy-handed
on,
president.
his name's on it, so that's understandable.
Yeah, but really though, it's about it's not about because sometimes I don't want it to just sound like me. It's not just,
Right.
You want it to sound like other people because that's what it's all about is bringing people together. In real life, in the real world.
Mm-hmm.
I love when we play these shows and people come together and just have a blast.
Yeah.
Might not even know each other.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when we played the other week at the Rams Head Roadhouse, it was really amazing.
Yeah,
there was so much.
One.
There was a guy sitting at one of the tables. I mean, he was yelling the whole time. He just loved it. I mean, I could hear him from the stage. He was just yelling the whole time about how great it was.
Yeah.
So there is some audience participation. There's people that they want to talk to you. They want to take pictures with you. They want to know what you're doing. They want to know, they want to hear more. But like we were saying before, it's we're creating a musical experience,
mm-hmm.
and I think that's what people like.
Right. Well, having people yelling and hollering and coming up and wanting to talk to you and enjoying the stuff, it beats having to put chicken wire up, I think, right?
Right.
Yeah, you're right, my friend.
No fences.
There's been nights, I can speak for myself thinking that there's nights when I'm like, geez, hope they have some here. We need to put that up pretty quick,
Right. Right.
Either that or I need to drive around in the Pope Mobile or something, Oh, crowds can be brutal sometimes, huh?
They can.
Yes, I agree.
Yep. Yep. So, Richard, you had mentioned earlier that you spent some time in Los Angeles. Now, did you grow up out there, or did you grow up somewhere else and move there?
I did grow up in southwestern Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then I graduated, like I said earlier, I graduated in 1983. So then,
yeah.
But I went to Los Angeles in like 1985.
Sure.
After high school.
Mm-hmm.
And, I was there right after Poison took off.
Yeah.
When I first got to LA, I saw Warrant's last show at the Country Club before they'd just gotten signed, and they played 2 nights at the Country Club.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And Racer X, I think, opened up for them.
Anyway, okay. Paul Gilbert.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he was from Pittsburgh. And but anyway, yeah. So I was from LA from that point on. So here's what I like to say: I grew up in southwestern Pennsylvania, but Uniontown. But I grew up as an adult in Los Angeles, because I moved there when I got there when I was 19.
No kid. My grandfather was from Uniontown.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Wow. Yeah.
Yep. They used to call that area Pennsyltucky.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Used to call that area Pennsylvania.
Still
He said,
do.
yeah, he used to say, you know, you're from Pennsylvania when Dundalk seems like a great place to move to.
Right. Well, it's called Fayette. It's Fayette County, and they call it Fayette Nom.
Oh boy, wow. I hadn't heard of that one here. The other one I heard is like Pittsburgh on one end, Philly on the other, and Alabama in between.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh man,
Yeah.
I like it.
That's about the size of it too. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. PA's great though. You know, I mean, I perform in Harrisburg quite a bit, Middletown, Hummelstown. It is a great place. You know, it really is overall. You know, minus the jokes. Hey, but you know, we have them. Every territory in the country has its jokes. You know.
Right.
Yep. Yep. So, now had you performed in LA when you were out there? Were you playing in bands and on the scene out there?
Oh yeah. Well, yes. I had a band that I'd put together called United Snakes, and that would have been 1980, 88 through 91 probably. And
Sure. Yeah.
we did a lot of cool, we did the whole thing, we did all that. We had a deal with I don't want to go, we had a deal and did a bunch of things, but we didn't get
Didn't get to the promised land.
yeah, we didn't get quite to the promised land, yeah.
Had your cup of coffee, but yeah.
Whiskey, whiskey. Our places were the Whiskey and Coconut Teaser, and another place in the valley called FM Station, and we played Gazzari's and places like that too. Strip clubs and Hollywood.
Oh yeah.
Fun stuff.
That must have been something else to be out there. I mean, I'm sure you probably witnessed a lot of history out there as well.
Yeah, truly have. I mean, when we used to play before, I'm just thinking back on things. What's the guy Tom from Rage Against the Machine? Tom Morello?
Oh yeah, Tom Morello.
Yeah. He came to our shows at Coconut Teaser, and yeah, he was into it, and I could go on. and on.
Yeah, and some of the bands that you had mentioned too. I've had just had Pete Evick on. Pete Evick is Brett Michaels' guitar player. Solo. He is from from Virginia, but had him on. You just mentioned that, and there what was the other band that you had mentioned? You just mentioned Poison was starting to take off, and
Warrant.
Warrant.
That was that time period when I got to LA.
Yeah,
I was like 19, and that was right when Warrant was taking off.
Just had Warrant as a guest too. So my 97 Underground show. So yeah, great guys, and great stuff.
Janie, man, R.I.P. Janie. That was his band.
Yeah.
He was the.
Yeah, I had their singer Robert on. He was a good guy, and he was friends with Janie as well,
I'm sure.
Yeah, it was it's really something though. I mean, all the history that's out there. I mean, part of I'm entertained by reading about the history and watching documentaries about the bands and everything. That's that's kind of what I'm trying to capture here. When
I'll tell you what, I was out there for the whole Guns N' Roses thing.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, deep into the whole gun. Yeah, I saw them a bunch of times, and that was a heck of a time.
Mm-hmm.
Must have been.
I was out there because they were, I only was hip to them before Appetite for Destruction was released.
Mm-hmm.
When
Right.
the album was released, it was like, oh my, it was just so amazing. It was just so incredible.
Yeah.
And this was still LPs.
Mm-hmm.
Where, these were still actual records, and it's hard to imagine, right? But yeah, these actual records. I remember getting it the first day it was released and putting that on, and it was wow. We freaked out over that, and I forgot. I lost my train of thought now, but yeah, it just you can imagine from there.
All those bands in that period.
Yeah.
Really good too.
Yeah.
Well, how about the first Van Halen tour? I mean, that was just. I mean, we didn't know anything about Van Halen. And all of a sudden, we saw them. They were amazing. And the next day, radio stations were abuzz. Everybody was talking about Van Halen.
Mm-hmm.
Back in '78, I got lucky.
That was insane. That was just just the best. I mean, it really was.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, that was something too about Guns N' Roses, because I can remember it came out, and then like 6 months later is when it really hit.
Yeah, I didn't do anything for it until Sweet Child of Mine. Well,
Yeah.
it was, it was big in L.A.
Right,
it was huge
right.
in L.A. But it didn't. They were still a local act until Sweet Child of Mine. They were still local, basically.
Right.
Kind of,
Mhm.
in the big picture. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So how about you, Sam?
Well, I started. Well, let's just say my first pro band was Problem Child. They're a Carroll County band.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I actually did two stints with them. I did early '80s, and then I went back in 2015 and played with them. I was also in a local metal band called Not Dead Yet. I was in the Adam Krause Project, Witch's Brew, and there was a few others.
Hmm.
This has just been, pretty much classic rock, metal. Oh, I was in this one band called Rune Messiah. This was a sort of a Trower and ZZ Top band. So it was like a lot of groovy psychedelic stuff. But then we threw some ZZ Top in there. Real 12-bar blues stuff.
Sure. Yeah. And I know these bands too. It's Adam Krause I've had on the show several times. As member of his band. God, what am I got it now? I'm drawing blanks. I think it's Contagious now. Pillbox.
Yep, Pillbox, and he's got another one called Freaky Tiki.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I've had Pillbox on Problem Child. Now I know the folks that are with it now. I know I think Abby the Trodovic was singing with them. I've had her on with Scarlet Angel.
Yep.
And just last week, the three of the Jackie, Kim and Michelle had them on last week to talk about, they're doing their 40-year reunion show coming up.
John Diaz playing bass for him now.
Yep. That's what I understand. Yeah. And that's going to be coming up actually in Dundalk, right down the street from your show at the Poplar, like a week later.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So that's great. And Lewis, boy, you've got I was talking to you, you had mentioned in the last episode, you got a resume too.
Yeah, there's been so much stuff that I've been involved in, and it's crazy. Like I said, the early stuff, I listened to rock and learned, things with local guys, in my neighborhood, and I answered ads right away, and got in these punk bands, new wave bands, and it was interesting, just all the different places I've played, just the people I've been involved with, did some recording, and there's some local guys I'm recording with here and there that are writing stuff now, and also with Richard. So it's been kind of just a big circle. Like, I did a bunch of covers for years, and you get tired of that. You pay your dues, and you're like, okay, let's go back to originals. And, I just love that feeling where you're putting your heart and soul into something that is you and not somebody else's idea of a song. You're just influenced, but you hopefully can sound original enough where they go, oh, okay, I understand what he's trying to do. Okay.
Sure. Now, some of the favorite places you played, Richard, you had mentioned some of the places in LA. What about maybe East Coast?
930 Club for me, and of course, and Oddfellows Hall, which is an old crazy place in Towson, and the Marble Bar. Go ahead, Sam.
Well, I was going to say, probably one of the big shows that I like was we played the Hagerstown Motor Speedway opening for Great White.
Wow.
With Jack Russell.
Okay.
Rest in peace, Jack. Yeah, rest in peace, Jack.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. That was the original Great White. We did another show in Williamsport, Maryland with Jack Russell, but we opened for both Great Whites, both the original members and Jack Russell. Numerous times for Kicks. Gettysburg Rocks. We opened for Kicks. Let's see here. Just so much. I remember playing a show in Wheeling, West Virginia. It's a huge show. and I was actually hired by a Santana tribute to play bass for one show. And that was probably the biggest show I think I've ever played. It was probably in front of about 15,000.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. The 930 club, Lewis, you'd mentioned 930. I had the chance to play there myself, and I've got to say, and I don't think it was a fluke. I mean, those owners really knew how to treat their bands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're talking about on F Street, the original one?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a great place. I saw so many great bands. It's a shame they had to keep re-recording over the videos they took of the bands. Because I saw there was a book that came out about the 930 Club and just the photos and stuff, and that whole era of punk rock and whatever. And they would videotape. There was this pole in the middle of the floor, and there was always somebody on some cage up there videotaping the bands. But they used a lot of the same tapes, and it's unfortunate they couldn't make a DVD of all that because there was a lot of great stuff that happened in that room that will never happen again. You understand?
I know.
It's an era that was like, wow. If you were there, you're lucky. It's not the same today.
Yeah,
You want to hear an
definitely,
interesting?
I was just thinking of saying. I mean, yeah, a lot of clubs were able to treat their, the bands better, and it's different. It was different.
Original. So that's
things,
nothing.
Yeah,
music,
that's right.
I mean, the music just it was like
But
wow.
it's so easy to look back at the past and with rose-colored lenses. It's compared to today.
It wasn't always nasty. There was a show I played in this punk. This is a good one here. We played. It was a band that opened up for us. They're called Iron Cross. They were serious hardcore punkers, right? We go on after them. This punk band I was in. Null set. It was a Null set gig. It was like 80, 81. So they start off real fast hard stuff, and I go in the men's bathroom, and there's a big puddle of blood. Like they were just stage diving, banging each other in the head. Somebody punched somebody with spikes. So in the blood that was on the floor in the bathroom, somebody wrote Iron Cross with their finger.
See,
that's the kind of show that was.
Kind of lose me with that shit. You know what I mean? It's like,
at the end of the night, there's a guy on top of the bar. He's a punk dude. He pulls his pants down. And he falls off the bar because he was so drunk. Look at this. Pulls it down and bam. See ya. Okay.
Oh man, did you all ever do the Rage?
The what?
The Rage.
The Rage, no.
What street was that on?
It was a Calvert and Lombard Street. That was like later 80s, earlier 90s.
I saw some shows there.
Yeah. How about you mentioned 930. How about let's see, Maxwell's?
Yeah, Maxwell's. Cool place.
How about the Paragon?
Oh God, the Paragon. Well, we were talking about bass equipment earlier. And I tell you what, Ampeg bass equipment going up those steps.
Yeah. That's right.
Man.
Oh, that had to be a backbreaker right there.
I'm glad I was 21.
And that's the way a lot of those. It seems like there's a lot of those clubs were like that.
Yeah.
Kind of all the famous old clubs are like that too. A lot. You gotta
going up or downstairs. Yeah.
Like Feathers.
Who wants to carry a Marshall cabinet up the staircase? It's just a hassle.
Yeah, Feathers was like that too. Did you guys remember Feathers?
Feathers, yeah, that was it. Was that Fells Point?
No, that was Moravia Park.
Oh.
Michael, I've got one for you. Coast to Coast.
Yeah, Coast to Coast. Yeah, I never played there, but I do remember it. Yeah.
Route 40.
Look, Rat played there on my birthday. I think it was 84. I think it was.
Yeah.
83. And Rat was up and coming, and they played there. And it was amazing.
Yeah, Rat was huge. I mean, they were huge too when they were coming up. It was like an explosion, another explosion band.
And Queensryche, I remember them playing at the Wax Museum.
Oh, that was a great place.
That was cool because you were like right there in front of them.
Right.
It was cool.
Right, the Wax Museum. That was a great bar. I saw some great stuff there. Gang of Four.
Yep.
Oh my God, that was some great punk back then.
Gang of Four was great. Yeah.
Gang of Four, you remember them, right?
Yeah.
They were great. They had that guitar player just passed away last year.
I heard. Yeah.
Yeah, great stuff, man.
Yeah, that is great stuff. That really was. Let me see, Maxwell's. Did any of you ever do 15-minute club in DC?
Oh yeah, I remember that place.
Yeah, that was kind of an artsier place. Let me see, Julio's Club 183. or Club 118. Club 118. That was in Gaithersburg area.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Yeah. There were so many of them back in those days. So many great memories of these places. Ever do Hammerjacks or Network or any of those?
Yeah.
I was really in California for most of that stuff. Really.
Yeah.
Sandbar.
The sandbar.
Yep.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Played there, saw some stuff there.
Yeah,
Right.
I've got a great story about the sandbar.
Please do tell.
Well, Kix was playing there one night,
Mhm.
and me and my buddy, went up there, and unbeknownst to me, he didn't have his ID,
Mm.
so they wouldn't let him in. So we went around back to the load-in door, and Steve Whiteman was there.
Mhm.
And so I said, Steve, they won't let my buddy in. He doesn't have his ID. And Steve Whiteman says, why don't you just tell them that you're me? They would let you right in because he kind of looked like Steve.
Mhm.
So then after that, Steve says, come in. And what we did was we were like roadies for about 10 minutes. We moved some stuff around and then they let us in. So we were just hanging out backstage with Kix.
Oh. Yeah. I've had a bunch of members of Kicks on the show too. I've had Mark Schenker, he was more recent, and then I've also had Brian Forsyth and Ronnie Youngkins on at different times. Yeah, great guys, all of them.
Oh yeah, all of them.
Yeah, I played with Ronnie when he was like doing cover band stuff for a little while. It was really kind of strange. He was playing the bass.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Rio, he did. I played drums for a bit. There was a black guitar player that played like acoustic, like classic rock.
Oh yeah,
Tell you
yeah.
what, Wrathchild was a big influence on me too, because I used to go to in West. I used to drive from my house, my parents' area, to Morgantown, West Virginia. There was a place called the Underground Railroad,
Mhm.
and there was anyway. Yeah, and man, they were just so incredible, man. I mean, at that point in time, at least I just thought they were then,
Oh yeah, yeah.
so tight and amazing. And they had the equipment, they had the. I mean, yeah, they were full blown.
They used to play with Poison a lot too when Poison was here.
Yeah.
Yep, they used to play with them quite a bit.
I thought for sure. I mean, it's amazing. Just like them, there's a perfect example of like a hardworking bunch of dudes that did a lot of stuff, but just never, Brad. I mean, God, I thought for sure he'd be a major rock star. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I mean, he certainly, and I got all respect for him, but God damn, you think it'd have been a lot huger than that.
Well, he's probably the best front of the house engineer out there.
Yeah, that's true.
I would say,
That's true. Yeah.
Oh, he's definitely found his thing for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's great. They just did a show. There was a benefit show. I can't remember if it was a Wrathchild show or was it a.
No, they got together with Shannon Larkin and he had Brian Forsyth.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and it was a benefit show. I can't remember what it was called. Ladders to something or another. And it was a big draw. I think they raised a bunch of money. So yeah, it was definitely. I'd like to see them do it again.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, yeah. That for sure.
Get that same lineup together, and and do another show. We'll do a series of shows. That would be good.
Oh, it is. It's great. And it's great to see those guys get back together. Because you hear, they were playing around here, and then they've all kind of gone off and, done the national act thing, and they're touring all over the place. And they're back around. They're playing. You get to see them again. Yep.
Sure.
Yeah, definitely. Now let me ask you all this. Did you all ever experience any Spinal Tap moments?
On stage, bad mood.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm trying to think. Go ahead, guys. Since you guys got it right forefront.
I should have had that ready to go.
Stage.
Spinal Tap moment. Shit. Well, I remember. Well, just going back to the very beginning when I was in my old, when I was super young playing keyboards and whatnot in these top 40 bands all around Pittsburgh. I remember my back going out, you know what I mean? And I was you wouldn't really think that, but I've always had a weak back, weak back problems, and just flat out on the floor right in the middle of a thing and in the middle of a gig, and this girl singer's giving me chiropractic things to try and get me back together. That's just something I was thinking about. It's not that big a deal, but
for me, it would probably be a broken drum head, a gig, snare or bass drum. It just happens. Or something falls.
Yeah.
Well, I had an experience one time on stage where my hands stopped working while I was playing a set.
Yeah.
And what happened was I was playing bass with my fingers, and my hands stopped working, and I didn't know what was going on. So I grabbed a pick, and I finished the set with a pick. And then I went and I talked to a bunch of my friends in the audience. I'm like, "What do you think is going on? My hands just stopped working out of nowhere. I don't know what happened." And one of them says, "Well, you're probably dehydrated." So I drank some water, and went back, and I was still having problems, but I got through the gig. Then a couple days later, I called Joe Macri from Crack the Sky. And I was like, "Joe," I said, "this happened to me last weekend." I said, "Have you ever experienced this before?" And he said, "We all have." He says, "Dehydration. Make sure that you drink plenty of water in the days leading up to your show and the day of."
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's what it was.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. That's, well, you see what I do, it's, yeah.
Yeah.
Balance out that.
Well,
word.
Yeah.
Well, it's either that or I'll be spitting cotton balls all over the screen here, and I don't want to do that, So I figured I'd spare everybody that. And well, great. I was listening to your material that you have, and again, well written, well played, good stuff. I bought your album. And I'll go ahead and I'll plug you, and you can plug yourself towards the end of the show, but it's livengoodproject.com. And it's a nice website that you have too. Not only, you've got all your dates, your booking times, your shows are listed, your contact information, calendar. You've got a nice photo selection with your videos and everything in your bio as well as links to all of your socials and everything too. It's a great website,
Thank you very much. And that's relatively new. And I mean, my wife is my wife Mary is a graphics creative executive professional person, and she's on our team. She's part of my team. She's the marketing end. She's marketing arm of leg, or is it
Livengood Project LLC.
Yeah, right. But yeah, she's so good at making that stuff really just be tight, and that's really new. So we're going to be adding on to it. It's really not that a whole lot. There's definitely a lot of stuff there, but it's going to get a lot bigger. Let's put it that way as time goes on.
I like the artwork. It looks like, the Livengood Project. The artwork, I guess that's the album cover with
cool? Isn't that cool? Yeah, that's my wife, Mary Livengood.
That's great. It looks great, and takes us all back to vinyl. I've had this discussion with others, and I don't know. Let me know if you agree with this. It seems like, of course, things are always getting smaller and smaller and smaller. But we used to lug around albums all the time, but the album itself, the cover and the inside sleeves, and sometimes if it would open up, that was part of your experience.
Yes, I agree. That's right. I love records. I still collect them.
I mean, on that note, I like to get this out where, I feel disconnected from, like with TV and records and music. Once digital completely took over, that really pushed me into this mindset. Livengood Project and doing the authentic rock thing and all that. Like, it stopped me from really wanting to keep pushing that digital envelope, because it just goes on forever. I don't know. I just don't want to do that. And I think you know what I'm trying to say. It's just
It was, and it was just such a it was art. You don't go into people's houses and see cassettes up on the wall. I mean, sometimes people actually do frame albums
to hang on to anymore. There isn't anything to hang. Yeah. It was like there's always something to touch and feel, and that, I mean, like with TV, I can't get into streaming and all that. I liked old TV and radio and real radio. Because when you turn on that radio or that TV, at least that you have something in common with however many other people doing the same thing. If you listen to the radio, you're hearing the same thing that 100,000 other people are hearing at the same time.
Right.
But you're never that. But but once you get lost on streaming, there's never that connection anymore.
Now, when you say, you know, like old radio and old TV, are you talking about like old radio shows from like years ago, or are you just talking about how rock and roll radio?
Yeah, I mean to talk over you. Yeah, I'm just mean. Yeah, when there was 3 channels of TV, and when there was, and you bought records, records and cassettes and things like that, and there was a tangible connection.
Well, I think we all learned, at least I think we did. I mean, we were all sitting there with our record players and moving the needle back and forth to learn songs.
Right.
I know.
I mean, that's what we did. I mean, and that's how we got it done. And there was no internet, and there was no Facebook and all that. So, you put up flyers, and then there was word of mouth to get people to come to the shows.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember there was a place. It's called the Stables now in Westminster.
Yeah.
But it used to be called the Pit years ago. And I remember Problem Child. We had a show there in the dead of winter. But somehow or another, we convinced the owners to do a bikini beach party. And they brought in sand, they brought in beach balls and beach chairs and all that. And the girls wore bikinis, and we ended up judging the bikini contest, the best bikini contest. That's the kind of cool stuff that we did back then. I just don't see stuff like that happening right now.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
You don't want to fight progress. I'm not trying to. You don't want to fight. You don't want to be stick your head in the ground, but it's just different.
It is. And one thing that I wanted to talk about a bit that you had just mentioned was flyers. That is a whole thing that was a huge part of the scene years ago.
Yeah, there's artwork.
Yeah,
involved,
yeah.
It was cool.
My goodness,
Look at the flyer. It was fun.
Yeah, again when it was sunset, and I can remember the Sunset Strip at 2:00. They would shut it down, and the cops would run, and they would just sweep like this, and just like go in a row of like people just sweep, and you just have piles of flyers for all these fans.
Well, that was part of the culture, I mean, in the 80s, again, there was no Facebook, there was no social media. You had to get out and pound the pavement.
Right. Yeah.
Meet people face to face, hand them a flyer, and speak with them. And that's gone away. And I'll just share one of my experiences. And I don't know if you've gone through this yourself. We were the king of flyers back in the late 80s and early 90s. We were constantly, and we were young back then. We had no money, going to school, working part-time, or working full-time, going to school and playing. When you would make your flyers, you'd be digging through your nickels and your ashtray of the car to try to go to the library or somewhere to print them. And, you had to get out face to face, and people would speak with you back then. You'd have a beer, you'd talk about your band, and say, "Oh yeah, sure." And people would come, so then, I stopped playing for a while, come back in 2005, and we had some shows lined up with my acoustic act that I had. And so I went to the place and I started giving out flyers, and people looked at me like I was spreading measles or something.
Right.
Yeah. I'm like, here, and they're like,
it was over.
Yeah. It's like, I'm like, oh, hi, how are you? And you hand them a flyer like we did. Okay. And then they're like, oh, what's that? Like, I didn't just blow my nose on it. Here, it's a flyer. I'm playing. What's this? And it's like it was like a completely different animal after that, it was
right. That's what you miss, right? The interaction.
Right.
It's awful. I miss that.
Yeah, the whole digital thing is just like it's a blessing. It was a blessing and a curse,
Yes.
And the thing with flyering too is that you better have been out doing that.
Oh yeah.
Not only did they judge you on,
wasn't going out and doing that, you weren't happening. You weren't doing anything.
That's right. You better have been out promoting, because and that was the thing too. It was all fine and good to have a good band, but that owner had better have seen you out there trying to draw people.
Right. Right. Yeah.
That's it.
Yep, whether you did or not, and but they at least they fully expected that effort,
Yeah.
you know, totally expected that effort and everything. So tell me, what do you have coming up? I know you've got a few shows coming down the pipeline here. Do you want to do your plugs again, or do them?
Sam Skinner is our vice president and general manager of Living Good Project, LLC,
All the
or
gigs.
P.
No for sale.
So I'm going to let him tell you what we all have, what all's coming up, because
Okay.
I know this Poplar Inn gig is a big deal,
It is.
Mhm.
and I'm going to tell you some more.
Yeah, the Poplar is a big deal. It's our debut there. It's on the 29th. And we have our friend, a very talented singer-songwriter, Reed Schoenfelder, opening the show for us. Then we're gonna do
Blues Highway recording artist. Reed
then
Schoenfelder.
we're gonna do our what we call the groove set. That's with the keyboards. And then after the groove set, we're gonna play the rock set with Richard on guitar.
Yeah.
It's gonna be an amazing musical experience. Now we are still booking dates. We still have the Rams Head Shore House coming up, but we also have a partnership with an Eastern Shore band called the Bird Daddies, and they want us to do a few shows with them. I don't have the dates in front of me right now. They're not totally confirmed, but they're just about confirmed.
What about the next gig for the Rams that we have coming up? Is there something
The Rams Head's in that's Memorial Day weekend.
All right, let them know about that.
Oh, yeah, it is one more.
Rams
Yeah.
Head Shore House, that will be on the
Memo-
24th of May.
Memorial Day, right? Is that Memorial? That's Memorial Day?
24th
I
of
didn't
May.
realize that.
Yep.
Yeah. Wow.
Memorial Day weekend. Yep.
Yep.
Mhm.
But I have a surprise. I have an ace in the hole. The dock bars are not going to get all the people. I've got a secret weapon that I'm working on right now. We're going to pack that place.
Yeah.
We're going to pack it.
Great. Well, I hope you do. I hope you do, folks. It's Living Good Project. And again, livinggoodproject.com. Their calendar is there. All their links to all their socials is there. Their music and everything else. So definitely get out and check it out and everything. It's well worth looking into. And the album that you have promoted on here, Living Good Project, is it self-titled?
Yes, it's a Living Good project. I'm calling this really an EP, I guess you would be,
Yeah.
because it's not like 10 songs. Well, there's
Right,
5
right.
on there, right? 5 songs.
Yes.
So I'm calling it an EP, an extended play, or you can buy the songs individually, but whatever,
Mhm.
you can get the whole record cheap. And
Yep.
what was the question?
Yeah.
About the producers and what's coming on and what you have as far as musical, right? Is that what it was?
Yeah.
That was the first
Well,
question.
we actually have more originals that we're working on, and we have a few covers that we're going to throw out there that might surprise people. So we've got some stuff. It's going to be pretty interesting. I think people are going to be really happy with what they see and hear.
Yeah, it's feel good stuff, man.
Mhm.
It's feel good. The covers are feel good covers.
Rhythm blues,
yeah,
right?
you know,
Funk,
and
with
then we rock out.
Then we rock out. So it's a mix of that.
It's a good time.
It's
Well,
definitely a
great.
good time.
Great. Well, folks, guys, thank you for coming in and joining us tonight here. I've had a great talk with you, and I've enjoyed, hearing your stuff and, getting a chance to speak with you a bit here. Remember, folks, Living Good Project, livinggoodproject.com. Again, all their socials, their calendar, everything you want to know about Living Good Project is there. Don't forget the Poplar Inn coming up. Don't forget the Rams Head Shore House show coming up.
That's
And keep
Memorial
your
Day.
eye on their calendar for others coming up as well. And for bookings, your booking information is on there. And best of luck to you this year with everything. It looks like you've got an exciting spring and summer in the works right now, huh?
Yes.
Not this Saturday, next Saturday.
Right.
The 29th.
29th.
The
Poplar
29th.
Inn.
Yep. Well, great. Well, folks, you heard it here. This is Living Good Project. Remember their website, livinggoodproject.com. Get out and check them out. And thank you all for listening. We've had Living Good Project here on Foul Players Radio, and we will see you all next time.
Thanks, Michael.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you. Folks, we hope you enjoyed our interview tonight with Livengood Project. Great guys. Remember, their website is livengoodproject.com, and links to all their socials are on there, as well as their calendar, pictures, their contact information is there as well. Make sure you get out and check them out. Their material is great. You can also, again, their links to Apple, where you can get their stuff on iTunes, is all there. So I think you'll really enjoy their material when you get it. And I think you'll enjoy this interview. So folks, thanks again for tuning in. Remember to hit that like and subscribe button and tell a friend. So Michael Spedden signing off. This is Fowl Players Radio, and we will see you all next time.